Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dig into some really timeless wisdom about something that, well, it affects every single one of us, friendship. Now, I've got a question for you. What if I told you that a collection of stories about talking animals, written over 1,000 years ago, actually holds the key to building stronger, more meaningful relationships today? It sounds a little strange, right? But stick with me, because we're going to see just how much these ancient stories have to teach us. I mean, let's be real for a second. Navigating friendships can be tough. Who can you truly rely on? How do you build a support system that really lasts? These aren't new problems, and it turns out the answers might just be hiding in plain sight. The source for all this is a Sanskrit text called the Hitopadesha. The name itself is pretty great. It literally means good advice. It was basically designed to be a practical guide for getting by in a complicated world, all told through these super engaging fables. So today we're going to break down 5 core ideas from it. We'll look at the strength of unity, why it's so important to think before you act, how to choose your friends with care, what loyalty looks like in a crisis, and finally, why being smart is often better than just being strong. All right, first up is this really powerful foundational idea, the strength we find when we actually work together. The book has this amazing quote that just captures it perfectly. Think about that image for a second. A single blade of grass is so fragile, you know? But if you weave enough of them together, you can create a rope strong enough to tie down an elephant. That's the whole idea here. Even when we're weak as individuals, we can become incredibly powerful when we're united. And this comes to life in the fable of Chitragriva, the Pigeon King. So picture this. His flock gets trapped under a huge hunter's net. At first, it's total panic. Every bird is just struggling on its own, and it's getting them absolutely nowhere. But Chitragriva, their king, he sees a different way. He gets them to work as one, and together, flapping their wings in perfect unison, they do something that seems impossible. They lift the entire net right off the ground and fly away to safety. The lesson here is so powerful. When we coordinate our efforts, we can achieve things that would be completely impossible to do alone. Unity literally turns individual weakness into collective strength. But, unity isn't worth much without good judgment. And that brings us to our second principle, the absolute need to think before you act, especially when you're tempted. The text is just full of these cautionary tales about how greed can totally blind us to obvious dangers. It's such a powerful emotion that it can make us ignore our better judgment and push us toward decisions that, well, usually end in disaster. Just look at the tragic story of the traveler and the tiger. You have this old tiger pretending to be all pious and generous, offering a golden bangle to anybody who passes by. A traveler comes along and he's suspicious. A charitable tiger? Come on. But then his greed starts to kick in. He follows the tiger's instructions, gets himself stuck in a muddy pond, and becomes an easy meal, all because he ignored his instincts for a bit of gold. The lesson is pretty stark. If you think things through, you'll probably get good results. If you act on impulse, you probably won't. The advice is as simple as it gets. Think first. Now, this idea of careful judgment doesn't just apply to our actions. It's maybe even more critical when it comes to the people we allow into our lives. And that's our third principle, choosing friends wisely. The Hitopadesha is really blunt on this point. It warns us to be super cautious with strangers, especially ones who seem a little too friendly, a little too fast. The point is, you really have to understand someone's true character before you can offer them your trust. This is shown so clearly in the fable of the vulture and the cat. A sly cat pretends to be this reformed, gentle scholar to get the old vulture's trust. His words are sweet, his act is convincing, but his nature is still predatory. As soon as he's welcomed into the vulture's home, he does the unthinkable. He secretly eats all the baby birds. The takeaway here couldn't be clearer. Words are cheap. A person's true character isn't found in charming speeches, but in their consistent actions over time. You have to look past the surface to see who someone really is. So once you've found those true friends, our fourth principle comes into play, showing that loyalty when it really truly matters. This is a really deep statement from our pigeon king, Chitragriva. He's basically arguing that the highest thing you can do is put the well-being of your friends ahead of your own. True loyalty, he's saying, demands sacrifice. And Chitragriva doesn't just say this, he lives it. After escaping the hunter, the pigeons, still in the net, fly to their friend, the mouse, Hiranyaka. The mouse starts to free the king first, but Chitragriva stops him. He insists, "Free my people first. I can't bear to see them suffer." And this selfless act of leadership just inspires the mouse, who then works like crazy to free every last bird. And this reveals such a core truth about friendship, right? It's not measured by what you can get, but by what you're willing to give. Real loyalty gets forged in a crisis, not when things are comfortable. Okay, on to our fifth and final principle, a lesson that has been told for ages: the power of your mind over sheer muscle. This is a huge theme throughout the Hitopadesha. True power doesn't lie in physical strength, but in your intellect. A clever strategy will almost always beat brute force. Simply put, brains over bra. The perfect example is the story of the rabbit and the lion. A mighty lion, Durdanta, is terrorizing the entire forest. Instead of trying to fight him, a small, old rabbit uses his brain. He tricks the arrogant lion into thinking his own reflection in a well is a rival lion. Consumed by pride and anger, the lion leaps into the well to attack his rival and drowns. A tiny rabbit defeated the king of the forest without even lifting a paw. And this is where all this ancient wisdom becomes super practical for us today. The fables talk about this network of animals. The crow for perspective, the mouse for the details. This is exactly what we now call social capital. Your network of friends, mentors, and experts, each with their own unique skills, is one of your most powerful assets for overcoming any challenge. So, to wrap it all up, the Hitopadesha gives us 5 powerful keys for life. Stick together, think carefully, choose wisely, be loyal, and be smart. These principles are just as relevant today as they were 1,000 years ago. So, as we close, I want to leave you with a question. Looking at these 5 principles we just talked about, which one resonates the most with you? Which one do you see shaping your own relationships every single day? Let us know in the comments below. I'd honestly love to hear which of these ideas really hits home for you. And of course, if you want more insights from fascinating sources like this, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me.